So, as you can see, I have my director in his rightful place, lapping up the fuss he's being given at the moment. What we don't want to do though is for him to get too excited and then roll off like he has been known to do before. Because that will be a shock for both you and me, Ollie, won't it? It will. It might be the most entertaining video I've ever done though, if I'm honest. It will distract everybody from the crafting that goes wrong regularly. But I have to say, full marks of perseverance. He's actually been sitting up there for the past hour waiting for us to get our act together. So he's obviously taking his job very seriously today. Hi there, it's Anne of Rosie Duck Designs. Thanks ever so much for joining us today. Of course, as you can see, I do have Ollie and I have Jim doing his usual fabulous job most of the time behind the camera. Sorry, it's a bit of a private joke because we've already started this video once and your finger slipped, didn't it, darling?
Just slightly.
Just slightly. So yes, but it's what we do. It's what we're best at. So today I'm just featuring some products from the Peaceful Poppies suite, which you will find on pages 24 through to 26 in the new mini catalogue. I have to say I love this suite because it is so versatile. We tend to think of a poppy being a traditional red colour, but they do come in a multitude of colours, and just by looking at the designer series paper it just gives you an idea of how versatile this suite of products can be. Lots and lots of colours included in it. And whilst today I am actually sticking with generally the more traditional colours of red, I'm going to just throw in some Flirty Flamingo to go with that. I have a friend who is absolutely mad about poppies and sort of loves everything that's got poppies on it. So this is a surprise card for her that I'm just going to put in the post just to say hi. She's not sort of round the corner, so I don't get to see her that often. So that's what we're doing today. Unfortunately, with this, what I'm doing today, you will need to have a big shot. So if at this point in time you don't have that, then I do apologise for that. But I just wanted to do this card because it's such a simple card if you've got just the big shot to run through the dies. And it will also highlight the Painted Poppies stamp set. So I'm going to use this just to do a little bit of stamping, and I'm also going to throw into the mix the Timeless Tropical stamp set, which again you will find in the mini catalogue. The reason I'm doing this is because it was such an apt sentiment. Our friendship is timeless. I've used this several times already, and I just think that's such a lovely sentiment. So that's the reason I'm sort of throwing that into the mix. But you could use any sentiment whatsoever that you wanted. So I am going to, I'll get these out first. I've made some in advance because we don't want to be here all day. I know my videos can feel like they go on forever. So I've got some blue poppies. I've got some, the colour has escaped me. It's the in colour from 2020 to 2019 to 21, and Purple Posy. It's just come to me. It's the one that you can't get the ink pad for, but you can get the Stampin Blends and the Stampin Write Markers for. So that is the Purple Posy, and you can obviously still get the cardstock. Flirty Flamingo, and we've got Real Red, and we've got some leaves cut out using Old Olive. So I'm going to be using these red poppies and the Flirty Flamingo, and I've got a selection of my leaves there. These are for another project which I will be back another time to share with you. One of those ideas I had in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. So let's see if that works. Time will tell. Let's put those up there. Over there. So I'm going to get my big shot work done, and I've got the dies here, which are the Poppy Moment dies, which, having just closed the catalogue, I suppose you can remember what page I said it was on, can you?
20 something.
Is it right? Okay. There you go. Oh, very good. 24 to 26. So it's the peaceful Poppy Moments dies that I'm actually using. So let's turn over the page. It's these. So you can buy those as a bundle with the sentiment stamp set, and there's another set of dies that coordinate with this stamp set, and you can buy them as bundles or you can buy them separately. And in fact the suite actually goes on to page 27. That's why I couldn't find what I was looking for. The Poppy Moment dies that I'm going to use, you can buy them separately at £34. So that and that coordinate, and you can buy as a bundle, and this set and this stamp set you can also buy that as a bundle, or you can just buy the stamp sets on their own, and you can just buy the dies on their own, depending on how the mood takes you and how you think you're going to use the products. So these are my peaceful, no they're not, my Poppy Moment dies. You can see it's going downhill already, can't you? So I've got a piece of Real Red cardstock, and I'm going to take this element and that element, so it's the big poppy, so it's this one. I'm just going to make my sandwich up in my big shot. So I've got my acrylic plate, then the card, and I've got two dies, acrylic plate on the top. I'm using my magnetic platform as usual, and I bore myself every time I say this, but obviously take care if you have a pacemaker fitted or anybody that's going to come anywhere close to it in your household. So don't use one of those. I would normally do this standing up, and I wouldn't normally have all this stuff all over my little tiny desk. So it probably looks a bit painful, but it's not. So I've got one solid piece here, and then I've got another piece here that's going to be, all these bits are going to just pop out. So you can pop those out with your finger. Put that up there. Put my rubbish over here. So I've still got, my centre is actually still, if you like, stuck inside my die. And we used to have just a basic piercing tool, which we don't have that anymore. What we do have is the Take Your Pick tool, and this is a multi-purpose tool that is £9 to buy, and it comes with an end with little bits of putty in it, so you can just pick up little bits of like sequins and little tiny elements that you're just trying to pick up, and you get basically your piercing tool fits into the other end, and you can interchange that with this element, which is a double-ended stylus. So you've got a thin stylus and a thick end stylus. So I'm going to pop that end in, which is my, sorry, there's a spatula bit here that helps you to remove maybe an embellishment you've put in the wrong place. So I'm just going to pop my paper piercing element in there, quite sharp, so do watch your fingers. And what I'm going to do is, if you can see there's some little tiny holes, and I'm just going to carefully put the paper piercer point through there, and that should start to lift the edge that's actually stuck inside the die itself. Now I'm going to take just the larger stylus end, and I'm just going to gently press through the middle. That is removing my die. I'm going to do the same thing again with a piece of Flirty Flamingo, but this time I'm going to use the smaller poppy, which is this one and that one. So again, I make my sandwich up. It's not quite how you're supposed to use your big shot, I have to say. It's not easy working in this space, I have to say. Right, so there's my solid bit, and then I've got my cutout bit here. I'm just going to push those out. Now with this one, it's a smaller die, and you might find that you've got a certain amount still stuck in there. And by putting your paper piercing tool through the little holes again, you're not only going to help to remove the cutout that you actually want, you will remove, in theory, the bits that you still don't want left in there. So you can see that has just raised that away for me to just now remove it. And that's come out cleanly, but I've still got the little bit left in the die. So just poke the tool through the hole and your die's back to where you started with. So let's put those over there, get rid of the bits, that up there, and my final piece of cutting out, unless I do something horribly wrong, is going to be the centres for the poppies. So I'm taking these two dies, a piece of black cardstock. Sounds obvious, but when you're cutting anything out, it's the serrated, for want of a better word, so it's the raised bit that goes on top of the cardstock, so that when you run it through the big shot, that is what gets cut out of the card. I'm going to try and line this up properly this time. That was an example of how to almost break your plate. One of those little trolley things, I think, to put my big shot on.
Hint, hint.
Oh, what?
Hint.
Hint, yeah, yeah. Certain well-known shop famous for flat pack furniture does them, I believe. Quite where we're going to put it in our very small house, I'm not quite sure. But that's another problem. Right, let's get rid of this so I've got some room to work. So again, I've got my little centre dies, and they are still basically stuck inside the die that I've used to cut them out. So again, we get our little paper tool piercer. You see, just by pushing through the hole, I'm already releasing the die, not the die, the card. Now this one is a different shape, so I'm just going to put my tool through the hole. In theory, also, if I take the larger stylus, just push that through the hole, it just pops out very, very neatly. So again, very handy tool. If I didn't say, it is £9, And in addition to that, you can buy the brush that fits onto that you can also use when you're die cutting. To again, you can run something like that. You run the brush over the top, which does help to release it. The more delicate dies do tend to get a little bit stuck within the metal die itself. So that's the die cutting done. So let's do still the poppies now. Now this, I am absolutely useless at jigsaw puzzles, and that is a bit of a jigsaw puzzle in the sense that you need that the right way up. So I'm going to hopefully deal with it in the right way up. I'm just taking a piece of spare cardstock. It doesn't have to be red. Sorry, it doesn't have to be white. It can be any colour you want. And I'm using my Stampin' Write marker in Real Red. And again, this comes with the thicker end and then the thin end. The technical names of which I've totally forgotten. But this one will obviously give you lots more ink. And all I'm going to do is just colour over the piece of card that I've cut out. So in effect, it's going to be slightly darker. Although it's real red, it comes out when you apply it over the top of actual real red card. It will come out as slightly darker to give you that contrast. Now you could use a stamping blend, and that's what I'm going to be using with my Flirty Flamingo poppy. The main reason I'm not doing that is because I don't actually have a stamping blend in Real Red. I am about to rectify that, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with the Stampin' Write marker. That is what I've used on both of these. I have to say the stamping blend, it's sort of a twofold thing. I slightly scared of them, if I'm honest, when they came out, because it's sort of all about colouring and blending, and I'm kind of like, oh, I think that's a little bit beyond me. But actually they work really, really well just as a colouring tool, and if you don't use them for anything other than that, you're going to be glad that you added them to your crafting supplies. But actually, I mean, there are some amazing pieces of work out there where people have blended them or use them to blend, and they're absolutely amazing. But even with limited skill, you can achieve a nice element of blending with them. So that was one of the reasons I didn't use them particularly. And the other reason was that at the time you need to, all of these pens you need to store in a flat way. So if you do it either way, you're going to be draining your ink. So they need to be stored like that. So I had them in this tin, and as I got more of them, it became a real pain to actually just sort of delve into the tin and get them. So I treated myself to some of the Stampin' Up storage that was released last year, and there's a specific one for stamping blends. And I've got to say that since they've been in front of me on my desk, not this desk but the other desk that I work from, they're there, and I'm really sort of using them a lot more. So two things I've got from this is, don't be afraid of them, they're brilliant. And secondly, if you're going to go down that road, treat yourself to just even one piece of the storage, because it's ideal, it stores them correctly in the lengthways position. And again, you can find that under storage on the online shop, and I'll put a link to it at the front of the video. So it's been a while, I didn't use this last card, but I've got my Wink of Stella back, and all I'm doing is I'm just running it over the entire middle of the poppy. Now some of this is going to be covered up with the black centre, but I'm kind of thinking life's too short to worry too much about leaving a gap for it, so I'm just going over all of it. That way it won't matter where I place it, it will still have Wink of Stella where the black centre isn't. I don't suppose for 1 minute this is actually showing up, but there is Wink of Stella on this. 20 minutes already. Time flies, doesn't it? That's the only thing I'm actually really good at, waffling. If only there was a uni course in it, I'd excel, wouldn't I? So, what do I want now? I want my snail adhesive. Let's try and make sure I've got my. It's all gone horribly wrong, hasn't it? There we go. I should try and remember that. So I'm putting a big wodge of snail over my centre because I've got lots of room to play with. I'm going to be a lot more delicate on here. Now, of course, you could use Tombow, you could use fine tip glue. I just generally get in a mess if I don't use snail, so I'm just sticking with that. But I would just say whatever glue you're comfortable with, go with that. If by any chance you see a little bit of the snail just poking through on the corners where you don't want it, just get your piercing tool and just push it back in. In the great scheme of things, if there's a tiny bit of glue showing, it's not going to be the end of the world. A cat hair stuck to it, however, is not a good look, even though my friend's got 3 dogs and a cat and a rabbit. So she probably wouldn't mind, but you know, it's probably not the best look, is it? So I'm just placing that over the top there. That's our big poppy. So I'm going to take the smaller of the 2 centres that I've cut out. Now on one side there are sort of little indentations, so that's the side that you want to be showing through. Where all these silly little bits have come from. So again, I'm just sticking the centre of that, and I'm just going to stick that down onto the poppy. And then I'm just going to add some Wink of Stella into the middle, and then I'm just going to put some on the little end pieces. So that is our 3 red poppies. And now literally I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to colour this with Flirty Flamingo, and I'm using a stamping blend here. Again, we've got the small narrow edge and we've got the thicker nib. That's the word I'm looking for. So again, yeah, I'm just going to colour this just because it's a stamping blend, it's slightly different. You've now got the director's job as well, have you? So yes, you're quite right, it's a very good idea. We're going to stick it all together offline, off camera, whatever. But I hope you can just see from what I'm doing that how easy these are to colour. They're amazing. So treat yourself. Pick out your favourite colours that you think you're going to use, and you can buy them as a combo pack. And so you basically get a light colour and a dark colour, or a light and a dark of the same colour. This is the dark Flirty Flamingo, So if you think you're only going to use the dark one, you can just buy one of those. You can buy the dark, or you can buy the light, or you can buy the combo. There's no discount for buying the combination pack, but it just does mean you've got the combination of colours. So I am going to pause the camera. Well, no, I'm not. My cameraman is. But we're basically going to Wink of Stella all of this as we did with the red poppy, and then we're going to just stick that onto there, and then I will be back to just fit this bit on. So you gave up, did you? You gave up in your directing role. Is that because the cameraman thought he knew better? I knew you wouldn't take it well. You're going to say hello to everybody? Let's take this away just for a moment. Oh, it's a hard life. Somebody's got to do it though, haven't they, Ollie? So, I have my complete Flirty Flamingo smaller poppy, and we need to just add now the black centre piece. And what I've cut out using this one.
Sorry, you're moving it again.
Sorry, okay, that one. But I don't actually want to use all of it, so what I'm going to do is just cut it across the middle. And basically this bit is the centre, but if you can notice where I've stuck the coloured outer rim on, this, if you like, represents part of the petal. So I don't want a great big piece of the centre, so I'm just going to trim it down slightly. So I'm just going to take off bit by bit really, because you can always take more off but you can't add it back on. I suppose you can in theory with a bit of glue, but it's not going to look that good, I don't think. So let's just try that. So I want it just going above this piece here. I'm actually just going to take this next bit off as well. It's only a small flower, so I just want really an element of the black centre. I think that will do. So I'm just going to stick that on with some snail. And some Wink of Stella over the top. That will be showing up, I think, on camera because I gave it a little squeeze and got a reasonable amount to come down. And I don't know whether I need them, but I've actually cut out another 2 leaves. There's 2 different designs, actually there's 4 different designs of leaves in fact. So you've got this one, that you can use by itself or add on to this one. And we've got these 2 as well. So at this point in time I'm not sure how many I want, so I've just cut out another one of each. So again, they're stuck in the die, so you just need to gently poke through the little holes and it becomes free. Put those over there. Put those over here so we don't lose them. So I've got every element now that I need to make the card. We'll get there in the end. I knew you'd be pleased. So I'm going with a Real Red base card. As usual, I've scored, no I haven't, I've cut it at 6 by 8, scored at 4 on the long side. We're crisping up the fold with the bone folder. Then I've got 2 pieces of black cardstock, basic black cardstock at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I've got 1 piece of Whisper White at 5 1/2 by 3 1/2. I have attempted to be slightly more prepared, and I've actually done some measurements using centimetres, because I know a lot of people, I mean, in this country we do supposedly work in metric. Kind of, I never got the hang of it, if I'm honest. I had to get the hang of the money when that changed, but I kind of got through life without having to worry about centimetres. But I know a lot of you do work in that, so I've tried to be helpful and come up with very similar measurements. So for your base card, you would want 20 centimetres by 15 centimetres and score at 10 centimetres on the long side. That will give you your base card. For the basic black in this instance, you would want 2 pieces of 9.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. And for your basic, your white cardstock, you would want that cut at 9 centimetres by 14 centimetres. I will attempt. I found these the other day. I've done them and I've mislaid them, and I found them the other day. So I will try and here on in. I will try and remember to bring those in with me. So I am going to stick my 2 pieces of basic black onto my card. So one is going on the front, centralising it as usual. So I've got a little bit of a border going on. And this is going to be the inside, so again I'm centralising that with a little bit of a border. I want to do the stamping on the white, Whisper White, that's the word I was looking for, Whisper White. I knew it just wasn't white. So I'm going to do just a very simple poppy, taking the small poppy stamp and some Real Red ink. I'm just going to stick this in the corner, and I'm going on the landscape design with this card. So I'll stick my poppy just on here. And I'm going to put a couple on the envelope. And yes, I do need to replace my Real Red ink pad, but it's fine, it's doing the job at the moment. And that is all I'm going to do with that. And then I'm going to take our Friendship is Timeless stamp from the Timeless Tropical stamp set. As I say, you can use any sentiment that you want to. It's quite a long one, long stamp this. Just making sure I've got it lined up properly. I'll just test it out on my grid paper. Now it's going downhill a bit there. A bit like this video. Nothing new there though, is there? I think it's got something to do with the fact I stuck the label on a bit wonky. So always good to have some grid paper to test things out in. Now I'm actually just going to write a little message on there, and so I'm not going to stick the sentiment in the middle. I'm just going to stick it down the bottom, just to be different. Unfortunately, I've got a line on that. So I'm just going to go and cut another bit of card. I've got a little bit of a line here where I've twisted the stamp as I put it down. I could turn it over, but you know what? It's for a friend. I don't want it to be second best, so I will be back very shortly. You might want to pause it though, not that quickly. So take two. I've already put the poppy in the corner there, and I'm going to attempt this one more time without rocking the stamp on the block. Cards do have two sides, but I was just a bit aware that it looked a little bit scruffy around the edge on that cut side, so I can always use a piece of spare whisper white to do what we did earlier and use it as a piece of scrap card. Clearly you've been sitting on my desk, haven't you, young man? I can always tell it's you because there's these sort of gingery fuzzy colour hairs, so you can't blame it on anybody else. So that is my inside, and so I'm centralising the little inset card again so that I've got a border around either side, and that is it. That's very simple inside of the card. Now to the other bit. So I've got 3 large red poppies. I've got to be honest, I'm not sure whether we're going to use all of them, whether it's going to be a bit crowded, so it's probably a good idea to just try it out. I might be asking for input. You like that, don't you?
Oh yes.
Makes you feel like you've got more building your part up. Yeah, well, you've got a speaking part now as well, haven't you? Sure. You must think I don't never do any housework. There's always hairs everywhere, but that's not the case. You clean, and 5 minutes later they're back. So I'm thinking I've got some leaves to go on there as well, but I'm thinking too much. Yeah. So I kind of want the 2 colours. Yes, no, don't like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or we could forget about those, and we could just do the design I did the other day with the blue ones and do that.
That's nice.
You like that one?
Yes.
I shall leave those to one side for another project. It's kind of what I had in mind to just do this, but I thought I'd just give another aspect of colour, but I'm thinking with all the leaves that we've got going on as well. So basically these are going to cover up the centre, so I can put snail anywhere around this area to stick my leaves down. I can see I've thought this through. There's 2 ways of crafting. There's the correct way and there's the way I do it. Now the great thing with the snail, whilst it will hold it in place, you can still tweak it a little bit at this point in time, because I'm using the snail to hold it rather than really stick it down. When I'm happy, then I will stick everything down where I make sure it's secure, but at this point in time, so yeah, I like the two different lots of leaves. I can get away with a bit more snail up here. We go with up there, and we can have another one coming down here. I'll be with you in a moment. So we could have one of those down there. A bit too much green, so I think perhaps we'll stick with that. Yes, like that. So I'm just now going to tidy that up. I'm going to see that, so I don't need to see this leaf, so I'm just going to cut that off. So I just want to add a small amount of glue under here. Don't need that piece of the stalk either, or the stem. So it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. You just take it's quite well stuck, that one, so we just apply some glue that way. Because these are quite thick leaves, I'm just putting a little bit of snail on them. I'm just going to bring that down to the edge of the black card. So am I happy with that? Yes, I think I'm happy with that. So to make sure that is all nice and secure, I'm now just going to run some snail over the end bits. Okay, so I don't need all of that either. So in theory that is nicely stuck down, and it's going to be additionally held in place because I'm going to be sticking two of these straight on top of them. So again, I'm putting a nice amount of snail on there because I want it to hold. I want some greenery of the leaves showing. To make sure I haven't. If you use Tombow, then obviously you've got a lot more wiggle room than snail gives you, but as long as you don't really press it down hard to start with, you can, with something like this, you can sort of fiddle around slightly and make sure that you've got everything where you want it. And with something like this, if one of your leaves, not these, but the ones underneath come adrift, then it's not going to show anyway. So that's going to hold all of that into place, and to give it a bit of depth and a bit of interest, I'm just going to put the third one on with some stamping dimensionals. Again, I'm being generous because that will again help to hold everything in place. I'm just going to pop that there so you've got like a triangular shape going on. There we go. We got there. Sorry. We've got sunshine today. We're expecting this weekend. It's Storm Dennis, isn't it? We had Kira last weekend. We've got Storm Dennis to look forward to. So it's kind of the not the sunshine.
The lull before the storm.
The what?
The lull before the storm.
Yeah, I was thinking there was that song, wasn't it? Sunshine after the rain, but this is the sunshine before the rain. But yeah, so we're making the most of today, but we do have shadows, unfortunately. So that is the finished card. Whilst we obviously paused it while I did the poppy that we finished up not actually wanting, but you will see this again in another project. I took the opportunity to bring my storage unit in. If you see, it's very portable, and this is the one I was talking about that does the storage for the stamping blends. So there's my flirty flamingo about to go back into its home, and it literally comes in all different pieces that you can put together, and you will find them on page 160 through to 61 of the main catalogue. So I've got a stamping blend. So it's always a good sign that, or a bad sign even, that I've been talking for too long when the tablet gives up and cuts out. So just repeating myself, the storage details can be found on page 160 to 161 in the main catalogue, and as I said earlier, there is going to be an upcoming blog post, so if you like to head over to the link to my blog on the front of the video and subscribe to that, then you will won't miss out on that. But I just thought I'd just, while I've been mentioning it, just run through it very, very quickly. So I've got here the Stampin' Blends storage trays, and you get 5 of those for £13. As you can see, they house 6 Stampin' Blends per line. So that is 30. Is that right? 30 pens in there. Yeah, that's good. It then clips on to, you can add whatever unit on top of each other. So with this one, I've gone with one of the open storage cubes, which is £9.25, which you can see ideally fits the half stamping cases, which are £4.75 for 4. So I've got things like my stamping dimension was actually going the one that's out of here, but I've got my glue dots in here, and I've got some snail. So at least I kind of know where things are on a good day. I've got the storage topper here, which is £4.75, and this is ideal for your ink refills or things like your embossing powder. You can also get just a flat storage lid, which is £2.75, so you might want to put a plant on it. There's a cactus there. If you've missed recent videos, you won't have found out that this is Jim's latest hobby, and we're getting slightly overrun. My other working space is overrun with greenery, isn't it? So you're collecting cactuses like I collect crafting supplies. In addition, you can get one that stores your ink pads and your Stampin' Write markers. It won't fit the old style ink pads, I have to say, and I've still got the carousel version, so most of my ink pads are in there. So I don't tend to have the situation where I want ink pads and it's coordinating Stampin' Write marker. But what I did discover is, although these aren't actually made for the Stampin' Write markers, they work equally as well. So I've bought another one of these, and I've got all my Stampin' Write markers laying horizontally in there. So again, it's perfect storage, because that way you're storing them the way they should be. So I just thought I would, as as I'd mentioned it, and we'd pause the video yet again. I thought it was worth a mention. So we have got to the end of our video, finally. A huge sigh of relief from all concerned. Thank you so much for joining us. As usual, all the links will be on the front, so to my blog, which, as I say, you can subscribe to my online shop where you can purchase anything that I've used in the video today. You can also access all my other social media and my online shop. You can go there via my blog as well. If you enjoyed the video, if it's cheered you up and given you a good laugh, please do give me a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. And you can, of course, subscribe to my channel, so for your weekly dose of mayhem. So I think we are going to make the most of what's left of the sun. If you're here in the UK, do try and stay safe, dry and warm during this coming weekend. And we will be back very soon. So from my sleeping director, who is back in his director's place, but probably not doing a lot, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, Ollie. Oh, you're settled in, aren't you? Settled in for the weekend. So from Ollie, from Jim and from myself, thank you so much for being here with us, and until next time, do take care. Bye bye.